Hello, today we will see the short story The Bet, which is written by the famous short story writer the Anton Chekhov. It is in the syllabus prescribed by Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University, Aurangabad, for the students of BA first year in English compulsory for the semester second. Before we begin with the short story, we will see the introduction of the author Anton Chekhov, and then we will see what is the theme discussed in the short story The Bet by the author Anton Chekhov. To begin with the author Anton Chekhov, his full name is Anton Pavlovich Chekhov. He is a brilliant Russian short story writer as well as a playwright. He has written number of short stories, but also he has written some fine plays in the Russian language. In his short story and in his play, he has basically wrote about human loneliness and his frustration. When we are in a state of loneliness, when we experience a loneliness, that is when we are feel not attached with other people. So it is the feeling that we are alone, and this loneliness follows the frustration. The man consequently goes into the frustration, and it develops a serious type of disease, a psychological disease in him or her. So he has written basically about the human loneliness and his frustration. His short stories has been translated into so many languages of the world, and it is written in almost in all languages of the world. So far, it has an immense influence on literature. Before Anton Chekhov, short story was not the major genre of literature. But after and when Anton Chekhov wrote short story, the literary writers found it as one of the most important form of literature. Just like drama, novel or essays. So we can say that Anton Chekhov has given an important place to the short stories, as he has developed an immense influence on literature. Some of his famous short stories the bet which we are going to study, the duel, the lady with the dog, the black monk, and the darling. These are his famous short stories, and these short stories has been translated into so many languages of the world, and it is studied not only by the literary men but also by the students in English language. When we discuss about the short story The Bet, this short story The Bet is basically about a man's agony that is his suffering when he was in a conflict in his life, when he was not able to understand what is right and what is wrong. That means he was unable to take the right decision at the right moment. So he was suffering as he felt himself in conflict in his life. So he was unable to take the decision. And this, the short story, The Bet, is about the two important men who are met in a party. The party is given by a banker, and there are many guests in the party, and among many guests there is a lawyer. And what follows in the discussion, what follows in the party between these two men, it has become, or it has consequently they have a bet, and it is about the bet. The bet is not of a short duration, it is of 15 years. The result of the bet will be seen after the 15 years. So how and what happens during these days, how the banker changed, how the lawyer changed during this process, is well described in this short story. So in this short story, Anton Chekhov has shown about the man's deep agony who faced the conflict in life. What kind of the conflict in his life? That he was in the question that what is profitable in life, whether the self-improvement of the man or whether the monetary gain. Monetary gain in the sense to have material possession, to have money in his life. So the bet is about whether the money is important in life or whether the self-improvement or the self-worth is important in his life. In this short story, the banker and the lawyer decided that they will have the bet, and the lawyer self accepted the imprisonment. So there is an idea, the author discusses the idea that the imprisonment does not deprive the freedom. Even the man is in imprisonment, his mind is not imprisoned. It is free to think. He can think what he wants to think, and he can imagine what he want to imagine, but his mind cannot be imprisoned, though he was physically imprisoned, but he was not imprisoned by his mind. So it is only the physical imprisonment, and his mind is not imprisoned. It is not imprisoned, it is free to think. He can think whatever he want to think. And so this idea is given in this short story, that imprisonment is not for the mind, it is only a physical imprisonment. Secondly, the writer has explored human heart and mind, what the heart thinks and what mind does. Basically, we take decision with our heart, what our heart says, but the intellectual people takes the decision through their mind. They do not involve their heart while taking any decision. So mind and heart took an important play while our decision making. So the decision making of the lawyer and the banker is based on their intellectual level, and so it is also very important to see whether the decision taken by his heart is important or the decision taken by his mind is important. So at last, in this short story, the writer, the author Anton Chekhov, has also discussed and shows how human life is more important than the material possession. That is, human life is very important whenever we think the two things at one, money, and in the other, human life. So it is the human life or the life of the man that is given by God is definitely more important than the material possessions. So in the short story, in the next class, we will see how the bet has taken place between the banker and the lawyer, and how it is executed through all along for 15 years, and what was the outcome after the 15 years, whether the banker win or the lawyer win, what will be the result of that bet, we will discuss when we are actually going through the short story, the bet. So we will see in the next class. See you.